Thanks, that's all for today.
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 Thank you, that's all for today.
Thanks, that's all for today.
Thanks, that's all for today.
Thanks, that's all for today.
Hello and welcome back to Thanks, That's All For Today, a podcast hosted by me, Harriet Mullen. Thanks so much for joining me again for another episode of Season 2, and thanks to my gorgeous guest, Cara Lily Hayworth, for joining me last week. In this week's episode, I get to chat to an absolute girl boss. I'm so excited for you to hear this episode. My next guest is a business owner, a principal, an actor, a singer, a dancer, and leading lady who's played roles such as Elphaba, Heather Chandler, and Katherine Howard. So who else could it be but the incredible and super talented Jodie Steele? Hello everyone and welcome back to Thanks, That's All For Today with me, your host, Harriet Mullen. And today I have a very special guest. I have the fantastic actress, singer, dancer, teacher, businesswoman and girl boss, Jodie Steele.
Oh, I didn't pay her for that intro, I swear.
I meant every word. Girl boss, I underlined it and put a star next to it. You are, I swear, you are the busiest person I'm sure loads of people say that to you, but you are the busiest person I think I've ever known.
I do it to myself though, you know. I actually I get really stressed, but I think I just love being constantly busy and just on the go and just doing all sorts of random stuff. I think what it is, and I'm really going to make myself sound old now, like truly. I really like getting into bed at the end of the day. My oils on, you know, my diffuser, my little thing around my head, all my face like cream on, and just being like, God, I really did a lot today. And then I watch a TV program and I go to sleep and right, let's go again tomorrow. It sounds so lame, but I really struggle to like rest at the end of the day if I don't feel like I've, you know, been on it.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, during the pandemic, instead of sort of, you know, taking time off and having a chill, Jodie Steele not only is the owner and principal of Jodie Steele Associates, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
You also started being a carer.
I did, yes. I work for a company called McIntyre. So, funny story, but I actually missed my last few shows of 6 because I had COVID.
Oh, I had no idea.
How about that? Yeah, so I had it. And I wasn't aware. I knew I had the symptoms. And my company manager said to me, look, you can't come back. You've got a cough. And it was really early stages. And I was like, oh, come on, surely. And she was like, no. And I'm so happy I listened to her because it turns out I did have it. I lost my sense of taste and smell for like 2 months and everything. So I did have it. And I've recently had my jab actually because I'm a carer. And I really struggled with the side effects. But that's not to put people off. Please, everyone go and get the vaccine.
Yeah,
like,
I've had mine. I had mine in Feb and I was absolutely fine.
There we go. It just depends. Yeah. And, you know, it did suck for like 48 hours, but then I was all right. And then, you know, but yeah, so I, as soon as that happened and all that went down, I thought, right, what can I do to keep busy? I did not know at this point that the online teaching would kick off.
Yeah.
As crazy as it had done. But so I applied for all sorts of caring jobs, and my dad built houses and he has done for a long time in my life, built specific styled houses for people with severe autism.
Oh, amazing.
So so people who, you know, perhaps need bigger doors or safer kitchens, bigger bathrooms, that kind of thing. Safety appliances around the house, you know, just like plugs and stuff, they're higher, all sorts of stuff like that. And I thought, you know, I really want to help people who have learning disabilities because they're a vulnerable group right now that probably won't get much attention within this pandemic. So I applied and got the job, and I was immediately put with 2 girls called Kate and Jo who love theatre.
Amazing.
And my first shift, Jojo wore a Wicked t-shirt and I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God, I love that.
So yeah, and it's honestly like I love them so much. And yeah, the hours can be long. And it's hard not to become emotionally attached to them because they're so amazing. Yeah. But I wouldn't change it for the world. And I've learned so much about myself and the world and humans and how lucky I am. And just, you know, that we all have something that we can give. Even when you think like, oh, nobody needs anything from me, trust me, we can always help someone who may not be as fortunate as us. And it's just the best thing ever.
That is absolutely amazing. And I have to talk about a few of your credits. Now, if I could design a CV for myself of all the roles I'd like to play, it would be Jodie Steele's. Jodie,
No.
I swear you've got like all the dream roles on your CV. We've got Katherine Howard in Six the Musical. We've got Sherry in Rock of Ages, Heather Chandler in Heathers. We've got Elphaba. You've done Myth, Fame, Legally Blonde, Jesus Christ Superstar, to name a few. You've got Disenchanted coming up. You've got the Hair concert. I mean, oh my goodness, I swear you have 58 hours in the day, not 24 hours like everyone else. You just have played some incredible roles. Is there a dream role that you haven't played yet that you'd love to play?
Yes, I would love to play Christine in Phantom.
Amazing.
Because I never get to visit that part of my voice, and it's actually where I feel most comfortable vocally.
Wow.
And I used to work, I know, right? Everyone's always like, really? I'm like, yeah, I know.
No, that's incredible. No, get put in a box, don't we, sometimes, of like,
totally.
You can do pop, you can do legit, you're a dancer, you're this, you're that. So it's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so that's the kind of the dream. I also worked front of house there, just after Fame actually, and I just loved the show so much, and I just was like, oh my gosh, that is just my dream one day. I still yet have not been seen for it, so fingers crossed one day. I mean, hey, look, there's probably very more deserving people, more suited people than me.
No,
it's
fantastic.
weird. I do well, I just do love singing in that style. I've just got to make them believe me so that I can get in the room, you know. But we'll see. We shall see.
We're putting it out there. We're putting it out there. Okay. So you've done your training at GSA, and I just want to talk to you a little bit about your audition experience when you think back to not that long ago, obviously, only about 2 years ago you graduated, and so did I, you know?
So, yeah, God, yeah, just yesterday, babe, just yesterday. Just before the pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. What was your audition experience like for drama school? Did you do the whole like couple of years or just 1 year, or what was it like for you?
So I did the 3-year degree, and I felt so out of my depth when I went, because I felt, how do I put this? So it was quite you either have to come from money to afford it, or you get a scholarship. And I don't come from money at all, so I really had to get a scholarship, and I did, luckily enough to GSA, but I did feel a bit like the runt of the litter, if that's a fair expression to kind of use. Because I came in trackies and high top trainers, and I didn't particularly, you know, I'm a bit of a Basingstoke girl, so I probably spoke like this back in the day a little bit, like, all right. And theatre hadn't been a long part of my life, especially musical theatre. It kind of came in very late in my life. I very much wanted to be in the creative industry, but more as a singer-songwriter.
Wow. Amazing.
And honestly, that was the path that I wanted to go right up until I was about 17. And it's still something that I dabble in now, and that I'm desperately hungry to get back into. I just need the time.
Yeah, of course.
And so GSA was unbelievable and taught me so much about myself. But it was a nerve-wracking experience, you know. And you know, the thing is, though, I think you have to have nerve-wracking experiences in life. You gotta go through things that scare you. Oh my God, like I'm scared most days when I step out onto the stage, like pinching myself, like, how am I here? But you know, you just ride that wave, and then when you do a good show, or you achieve it that night, and you know, everyone goes mad and they clap their hands, you just go home that night thinking, oh my God, as if I did that. And that was like drama school for me every day.
Wow. Yeah, intense.
I couldn't believe I was there. I just never thought I'd get in. I didn't get into Arts Ed, I didn't get into Mount View, didn't get into any of those places. I actually got into quite a lot of the dance schools, and I do dance, but I wouldn't class myself like, you know, Darcy Buss or anything. And so it was just a crazy experience, and I kind of trusted my teachers at sixth form where I went, which was Queen Mary's College in Basingstoke. I kind of took performing arts there. I guess that's when I started to take musical theatre more seriously, or as even an option that I could ever do. And and so I got in, and that was it. And it was just very crazy. I just couldn't believe it every day. I just never thought that I'd be a girl that could get into drama school. To everyone listening, you can do it, okay? You can do it.
I love that. I bet Mount View and Arts are kicking themselves now that they didn't have Jodie Steele.
Oh my God, look at wow, no one else can see me, but Harry, you can see me. My dog biting the pearls off of my headband. Thank you so much, Buster. Yeah.
Cutie.
He is very cute, apart from when he tries to bite your pearls off your headband.
No. Leave the pretty things alone. Jodie, I've got to ask you, with the roles that you've played, does it get easier auditioning the more that you've done it, and B, is it still as exciting getting offered the job now as it was when you were starting out?
So probably not what you expect, but it gets more exciting every time when I get offered a job, because I just can't believe that it keeps happening. That's genuinely the truth. Like, oh my God, like, especially because I think, and as it should be, the older I've got and the more I've progressed, the kind of the higher, how would you say this? The hierarchy of the part, I guess you could say, the kind of has got better. And so I keep like, how has that happened? Like, why me? But thank you. And auditioning wise, do you know what? I think I'm more nervous now than I was when I graduated. I think because you learn how much you love to be in a job and how amazing it is, and how much you want that to carry on, that you almost put the stakes higher for yourself the more you carry. Well, for me, I don't know if that's for everyone, but yeah, I kind of, the stakes, I put them higher each time. Like, oh God, I really hope I get this one, and I hope this doesn't end, and I hope this dream isn't like over now. So I think I get more nervous every time. I did an audition, been in for something for the past couple of weeks, and every time I go in, I just keep telling the panel how nervous I am. I'm like, I'm so nervous. Yeah, it's just hilarious. Like, I don't remember being that bad with nerves when I graduated.
You must have the added pressure as well of people knowing you within the industry. Like, I'm thinking of a group audition. Generally, you can go in and people haven't heard of you, or, you know, you make friends and you exchange names or whatever. But I can imagine for you, I'm thinking of, like, I've done the whole 6 audition process a couple of times. And I know when you get to the group auditions, there's like 50 other people. And for you, obviously, people must know who you are. So then do you feel that added pressure of like, oh my God, people know who I am. They might, you know, fangirl, or maybe intimidating or what. But do you feel that, or are you just like totally unaware of it?
No, I massively felt, I and particularly in 6, felt it hugely. And, you know, funny story, and I'm all about being real, you know. So they were seeing me for Seymour and Howard. And as I walked in for that group day, some girls that were in my audition with me were like, oh my God, we're such big fans. And I was like, oh no, please don't. We all went then in for Seymour, and they kept putting me first. I kept having to be in the first group to dance, the first person to freestyle, the first person to sing. And I stood up to do the Jane Seymour one, and I cracked so badly on the big, And I was like, oh God. And I just kind of carried on, and I sat down. I was like, I'm sorry. And everyone was like looking at each other. I was like, oh. And then at the end, the creative team and panel and writers and everything, they're like, Jodie, can you just stay behind? And I had to do it again for them, because they were like, we just
it's like the added pressure of having people there knowing you, because I have to mention obviously how we met, and it was very, very brief actually, but we did a TV show together, and it was funny because I remember being in the room and walking in, I kind of kept myself to myself, and Blake Anderson was there, and I met him that day, hit it off with him, but I remember being so incredibly nervous, I just couldn't talk to anyone. But I remember the buzz about you, and there were fellow quite a few MT performers within the group, and they were like, Jodie Steele's here, she's played Elphaba on the international Wicked tour. Oh my gosh. And I was like, oh my gosh, add to my nerves, why don't you? I'm gonna have I'm gonna have to.
Oh
no,
God.
And we didn't actually get to properly meet until, because they keep you all separate, don't they? But there was that buzz about you, which is incredible. But it must also add to your nerves. It's a nerve-wracking audition experience anyway. I also obviously have had you in for some workshops for Theatre Studio, which are just absolutely out of this world. I think it's amazing that you're offering to children who want to be performers, or maybe just like thoroughly are just obsessed with theatre as a hobby, and you offer them like professional training for their age, rather than it being like, you know, catered for young kids. It's like, no, I'm gonna teach you a routine. We're gonna go full out. You're gonna have to think about, you know, with the 6 workshops, holding your microphone, and it's fantastic what you're offering. Have you created that because it's not really sort of widely accessible to kids, or is that how you were trained yourself?
So during Rock of Ages, I knew I loved teaching. Sorry, can you hear my dog in the background? Because Liam's just got home and Liam's lying on the floor, and so he's going mad. So that's the dog, guys. That's not actually me making weird noises. That's just how excited he gets. So during Book of Ages, I knew I was on a 5-day week contract. I mean, have you ever? How lovely. A tour with only 5 days. So we got 2 days off on the Monday and the Sunday. I think we did a few Mondays, like 7 over the whole 10-month thing. So I thought, right, what can I do with 2 days off? Rather than have 2 days off.
Of course, it's Jodie Steele. She's not having 2 days off.
So I thought, right, well, I could go up and down the country and teach workshops. So that's kind of how it started. And then I would be driving like 4 hours on my day off to go teach a workshop and come back again. And I just loved it. And then I taught at Leicester Theatre Group in Leicester, believe it or not. And Carl Strickland, who's now my business partner, just kind of said, look, your passion and just the way you kind of run the room, it's exactly what I've been looking for to set up a business. I was like, really? So we kind of set up JSA. And then from that, just off the back from me as well, I just try and go to as many places as I can to offer workshops. And it really is about reading the room and the level that you've got when you turn up and just adapting that. You know, you might need to take it slower. You might need to up the energy. They might like the giggles. They might want you to be a little bit more like fierce and collected. And it's just literally reading the room as I go and just being like, right, what does this group need? And how many, you know, do I need to slow this down? Can I do 2 routines in the space that I normally do 1? And I just love it so much. And you know what? It's something that I've really missed during the lockdown period. I'm so grateful for Zoom, but just being in the room and being able to have, you know, read that room again. It's hard to read a room on Zoom, but I just love it so much. So yeah, that's kind of where JSA was born as well. And it's a lot, you know, I've never run a business before, and there I am taking calls and doing admin and being a boss and
having merchandise. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I've seen you in action. That is what I think young aspiring performers really do benefit from now. I don't think there was anything like that when I was younger. I think there was like a West End school that you could go to in the summer if you had, you know, a lot of money, because you'd have to live in London, and I never grew up near London. So it's amazing that you're making it so accessible for young students. I want to play a game with you. We've got a couple of games. It's not like a theatre knowledge game. It's basically what you like. But
I would fail.
No, and also it's not school, Jodie. It's not like school. You're not going to get told off like it's wrong or right. It's actually just your preferences. It's a more fun way of asking what your preferences are for auditions. So it's just a quick fire round. I'll say like, you know, something or versus something, and then you just tell me what your favorite one is. Love and over explain. Here we go.
I enjoyed that. I'm with you now. I know what I'm doing. I'm good to go.
Here we go. Okay, round 1. Panel audition versus one-to-one audition.
Ooh, I don't think I've ever had a one-to-one audition, so I'd like a one-to-one.
Would you like to do one now? We could audition for Phantom. There she is. Am I taking its panel?
No, I'd go one-to-one. I think that would be a lovely experience. I think the pressure would be off and it become more of like a meeting, wouldn't it? I quite like that. Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Excellent. Let's make it happen. Let's have a one-to-one phantom audition for Jodie Steele, please.
Go
Do
on.
you prefer, I know with the Heathers process, the first round was self-tapes. Do you prefer a self-tape or in person for a first round in particular?
Self-tape, because I think quite often you can get your hopes up really quickly with auditions. I try not to. I'm literally, even at the final after it, I'm like, I haven't got it. But I just never like do that to myself. I think with a self-tape, like, we're balancing so much as actors, keeping all those plates spinning in the air. So I think when you can just bang out a self-tape at home and make it as good as you can make it and then send it off, if you hear back, okay, fine, you did it in your front room. If you don't hear back, like, fine, okay, I did a self-tape. If you do hear back, if you do hear back, great. Totally not no one. And you're like, brilliant. Then, because they can sift through, and the first round, it really is about them just being like, they're right for the show, they're not right for the show. It's nothing personal at all, but I think you can take it more personal if you've been in a room with them and you've met them. Do you know what I mean? So I think for a first round self-tape,
you don't really think twice if you don't get a self-tape first round, do you? Compared to going in the room. I agree with you. TV audition versus theatre.
Oh, TV.
TV.
Yeah, TV, more real.
Group audition versus one-to-one, or just one-to-one panel.
Just no group ever again, basically, is my answer to that.
I hate group auditions. I'm far
I know.
self-conscious. I'm far too self-conscious.
Horrendous, Harriet. Horrendous. I don't like them.
I don't at all. If I get a casting through and it says like group audition, I'm like stressing. I'm majorly not about the material or anything. It's just the being in a group. I hate it.
Yeah. I'm not stressing. I'm just not going now.
Yeah. Yes. 16 bars versus full song.
Full song. Full. Come on, like, I don't just, what is that 16 bar thing about? Like, oh, hit a big note. I don't like that. I want to see I think it's the whole package that matters. The energy, the mannerisms you have, your take on the song or the character, your journey through a song, the way you hold yourself, everything matters. So I don't think 16 bars is enough. I think that's just like money note. Well, what does that give you? So you'll have someone that can reach money notes. Well, you better hope that they're a fantastic actress on top of that going forward. But how would you know? You're like, there you go.
I'm just making a vowel sound for you.
I got the job now.
Yeah. Last one, established show versus original cast.
Original cast, just because actually, weirdly, there's less pressure. Just that experimental stage and finding it and creating that story, that character. Well, not the story, obviously the writer creates the story, but you create the inner story within yourself and all the personal attributes to that character, and it's just amazing. I think that's when being an actor or actress really counts. Like, put your creative spin on it. So yeah, original cast.
And just one more for you, actually, because I don't think you've given enough. I'm just going to add a little one. No, I'm joking. No, I actually would like to know, for you, as you've worked with so many different creative teams, would you prefer to perform to a panel that you already knew or had worked with, or just somebody completely different and new?
Oh, what a good question. Gosh. Oh my God, I don't know. Do you know, the thing is, when you perform to a panel that you already know, it's a half and half, isn't it? I guess they already know what you're capable of. So if you don't do your best, they still might be like, oh, that just wasn't her best, let's recall her. But then that means that the people you know have seen you do something bad.
Yeah, I agree.
I think I'll throw in a curveball, because it is exciting as well when you have a creative team that you've never worked before and they've never seen you, and either they're pleasantly surprised or they just write you off, either way. I think that I like half and half. Ooh. So like at least one or two people in the room know you, but the rest have never seen you before.
I love that answer. I would have to agree.
Yeah.
I have had this situation before, Jodie, where I went in for someone and they definitely seen me before completely mess up. They pretended they'd never met me. How kind. So like the producer was like, have you ever met Harriet before? And he looked at me and he just went, no, we've not met before, have we? And I was thinking, thank God, I knew that he knew who I was. And like, yeah, wow. What a nice person, though.
Thank God for him.
I
That's brilliant.
So, Jodie Steele, have you ever been on a panel?
Yes, I have.
So from like
Yeah.
the kind of point of view of the panel, is there some things that you've learned that you would now not do or definitely do as an actor in an audition?
I'm trying to think of the ones that I sat on. I sat on for acting muso job, and then I sat on for this musical called Crush, if anyone can remember that, because I was working for Debbie O'Brien at the time, so I was there as a casting associate. I think it's more do's rather than don'ts. Don'ts is a hard one. Don'ts is never don't be prepared. Just be prepared. Like just fail to prepare to fail. That's the thing. But that doesn't mean it's a memory test. Ollie Thompson, who's a really good friend of mine, always says to me, I'm never off book until the final, because I don't want them to think that it's the finished product.
Yeah.
I want them to know that I've got more to give. I'm just working on it, like, just to stay with me. I don't want them to be like, well, that's as good as we're going to get. So he's never off book until the final.
Ooh,
he takes paper in. That's not for everyone, but it's something to bear in mind. But do's, definitely humanize the situation. And what I mean by that is, hey guys, how you doing? Had a good day so far? Getting towards the end of the day, or first in today? Everyone had their coffee? Like, be yourself.
Yeah.
They're not above you. The thing I struggle with is I've already used this word today, but the hierarchy. Like, we are all in this together. And I think sometimes actors and actresses feel that they're below the panel. But we're not. They need us just as much as we need them. Do you work well for the show? Great. If not, okay, no worries. I've come and given you what I could. And I think that's my biggest thing, like, really humanize it. If you're nervous, that is okay. They know. They know you're nervous. And they also don't expect anyone to do their best. That is something I've heard time and time again, because we don't, because we put added pressure on ourselves. And we all know that the best time we sing is when we're in the shower. So, but I think, so that's my main thing, is really humanize it and try not to be the silent Sally, the people that come in, hi, and just kind of wait for them to be like, so what are you singing?
Yeah, I know. I know.
So just be chatty.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And out of all the amazing roles that you've played, have you got a favourite audition process?
Ooh. That's cool. Bits. Can I use bits from different ones?
Yeah, go for it. If you've got stories or anything, yeah, go for it.
So I loved my final for Rock of Ages, because I did the whole final with a Drew. My solo, I sang it in front of him. We did our duet together and both of our scenes together. So it was great. And I sat through his solo. It was wicked.
Yeah.
Not that I like group auditions, no, but that was nice.
Yeah.
And then I really like work sessions. So for Elphaba, just before the final, you do an hour's work session with the team.
Wow.
And I think that is just a great way. The dog's at it again, I'm sorry. They give you an hour, they work with you, and it's intense and it is nerve-wracking, but actually the nerves kind of dissipate like 10 minutes in, because you know you're really there to just work. If you hit a bum note, you're going to work on it again anyway. So they'll hear you do it right. But so I really like that. I liked in the final getting to work with someone that you potentially could be in the show with.
Yeah.
And I really like a work session where they, instead of just putting you on an X and putting you under all that pressure, they actually give you time and work with you and direct you. And I think that means so much. They can see how you take on notes, how you develop, how you work with them.
And that's crucial for something like Elphaba. How many rounds do you think you had for Elphaba in total?
I think I did 6 rounds. 6. I think it was 6.
Is that the most?
Not as many as some shows, but it was 6.
Is that the most you've done? No, then.
No. What was the really?
Mamma Mia's the most.
Mamma Mia?
I did 12 rounds for Mamma Mia once.
Liam did 12 rounds for Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia did 12 rounds. And did 10 rounds for Wicked.
How many?
10.
And 10 for Wicked, Liam did.
Yeah.
Wow.
the very first year he auditioned for it. There you go. What have I done the most of? I think the most I did was for Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and I didn't get it in the end. I think I did about 8 for that.
Can you describe for me your favorite or perfect audition scenario for a role? Say Phantom called you in, what would be like the ideal audition process for you? Not group, obviously.
Okay. No, not group. It would be like the first round would be like a half an hour, maybe 45-minute audition where they work with me, and I'd love for like maybe the MD to know who I was, to know that I have the capability, just to kind of back me up when I leave the room.
Yeah.
But I think that would be lovely to have like a 45-minute, and for it not to be like in a X mark situation, but to be in a more comfortable environment where it looks like it's a working, room. And perhaps for the choreographer to be there as well, just to because even the way Christine holds her body, her mannerisms, that kind of thing, that matters. And I think if you're like piecing it together in the room as you go, and you've got all those departments in there with you and working with you, that would be amazing. Of course that would never happen, because that costs producers money to do that, and they don't do that until they've whittled it down to like under 10 people, so but that would be ideal. We're putting it out there. Are you finding, as you get more and more jobs on the CV and you've worked for a longer period, are the audition rounds getting less and less, or is it still quite difficult to tell that with a role that you'd be in for 5 rounds or 4 or 3 or what have you? I actually think recently, because Equity cracked down on it, didn't they, that rounds are kept to like 5 or below now. I would say they have to pay you, don't they? They have to pay you if you go over 4 rounds. So I do find that. Before we go, I've just got another little game. It's called Rituals, and it's just basically the Jodie Steele handbook of what you do before and after, because you seem to have done pretty good, so I have to ask you actually, because Liam obviously is an actor too, and very successful, both of you. Does that really help with auditions and things like that? Yes, massively so. We advise each other all the time, and we calm each other down, and when one gets carried away, the other one's there to be like, you're getting carried away, and then the next week it'll be the other way around, to be like, do you remember when you told me I was getting carried away? Well, now it's you. So it is really useful, and just to have that understanding of the stress of just being in the industry and the uncertainty of it, and just being really accepting of that, of one another. And there's really no pressure between us two and our relationship, and that's so useful and so lovely. I love that Liam's an actor, and that we can talk about it, and you're both brilliant as well. That must be so handy for self-tapes. It does. It's useful. The other one always gives it their all. You can just get like your mum being like, "Hello, Deirdre. Well, how are you?" But Liam will be like, "Hello, Deirdre, and how are you?" Great. No, I think it's fantastic. A lot of talent in your house. Let's play Rituals. So, do you warm up well, obviously we're all professional. But have you got any specific warm-ups that you have to do before an audition? Yeah, I always believe in starting the engine slowly, so like and I'll do that for like half an hour whilst I'm like doing stuff around the house. I mean, gosh, even if it's a 10 a.m. audition, I get up at like 6, just because I have to be awake. We dread those, don't we, when those times come through, like, oh, it's a 6 a.m. start. And I always work out before a vocal audition, because I've got to make my body wake up. But yeah, so lots of zing, and when I'm outside the room, I'll just be giving it, just getting that siren going. Even in the room now, I'm like, right, okay. Yeah, love that. I love that. I always try and go in and go like, hello. I'm like masking it. Yeah. And then I actually talk like my normal voice, like down here, so low. Do you have any like after audition plans? Like, I have to go here, I have to drink this, or I have to eat this, or what have you? No, I don't know if I do. My main audition thing is as soon as I leave the room, I have to forget about it, which means I need to be proactive. That's just, as long as I'm proactive after, then it's fine. And it normally involves eating some sort of sugar, because I've probably been shaking from nerves, because I shake under nerves. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. So I eat sugar, but be it Ben and Jerry's or chocolate or a really sugary coffee. But I just, as soon as I get out of the audition, rather than like quite a lot of people ring their mums to talk about it, or I just want to, right, that's done. What's next in my day? And I just don't want to think about it.
Definitely. I really admire your attitude after things. Like, I remember altogether now, you're so professional in that whole, like, right, I've taken my show outfit off, I'm in my own clothes now, I'm going back to the hotel and it's done. Like, I'll watch it when it comes out, kind of thing. Whereas I think I would be like, right, I need to analyze absolutely everything that just happened, and I've got to like think about all of the things, and that actually isn't very helpful, because then no, it's so bad, but it then eats away at you, and it's like, actually I've just gone on stage and sung, or I've just walked in the room and sung, that's all.
Yeah, and you were amazing, and still to this day I remember I will never forget that pink suit, babe. I will never. So you smashed it, and you made an amazing impact, but no, you should never. Once it's done, it's done. Don't analyze it.
That's brilliant.
We could pick it, we could pick at ourselves forever, but I often think, like, there are not many people that would even have the balls to do the stuff that we do. So let's just pat ourselves on our back, and then being like, all right, I cracked tonight, or I said the wrong line, or I tripped up, or I did something terrible. Okay, I'll be better tomorrow. You know what I mean? You've got to just
definitely. Are you a keep it secret or tell all?
Keep it secret every time. Oh God. And you know what, friend, huh? Yeah, Liam tells everyone that he's in.
Everyone, just like to externalize it.
He's like, I'm in for this. And sometimes I don't even tell Liam. I never tell my mum and dad. I never tell the cast that if I'm in a cast with people at that time and I'm in a job, I never tell them that I'm in for something. And then they'll ask me why I'm singing that I'm cheering. I'll be like, oh, I'm just having a sing. Do you know why? There's two reasons. Because, like, I know some people need to externalize it, but then you can make people feel a bit crap that they weren't called in, and I don't want to do that to anyone. I really don't want to be that person. And also I don't want them to think I'm showing off, so I don't want to talk about it. And I think it's bad luck, because then I'm like putting it in the universe that I've like attached to it, and it's easier to let it go if I didn't tell anyone.
Definitely, because then you get that message from someone like, how did it go today? And if it hasn't gone good, it feels rubbish.
And you know, like, especially parents, like, oh, well, how did it go? Like, have you got the job yet? No.
I know. And then it's really hard to explain why.
I just don't have the right hair.
I'm just going to use that for every single audition.
Yeah.
I just don't have the right hair. Do you have a personality when you go into an audition? You kind of answered this earlier, or you just authentically you, or do you go in like professional Jodie Steele, or are you just authentically you?
Oh no, I'm definitely authentically me, probably to the point where I like get a few heads turning like, is she all right? Like I just, even in like this week when I went in, it was a dance call actually. And I went to the front, because you're in squares now. You've got to go in a square, right?
Oh.
And there was no, and the person taking the audition knew me, and she was like, you're gonna come to the front, Jodie? I was like, all right, I will come. Here I am in the front square. Let's go. Nobody follow me. I will fuck it up. And I just, it was just so me, you know. And I'm totally normal. I tell them if I'm nervous. If I crack, I'm like, oops, sorry about that. I just because,
well, it's worked for you because you've done
well.
Very well.
I just think I'd rather than be like, she's a great person, and she'll work really hard. I do want them to know that I take it seriously. So I think it's almost nicer to have that, you're yourself, and then suddenly you snap into that character when you're audition, when your scene's up or your song, and they see that, like, oh, she's an actress, like, she can do it. But yeah, no, unapologetically myself. And that's not for everyone. And I get that it can throw some people, in the wing as well. Some people are more method, where they like to just keep themselves to themselves. But I just want everyone to be all over me with hugs and laughs and jokes and winding me up in the wing, even if I'm on stage, because it just reminds me that, oh, this is just this is a lovely situation, and I'm not going to let myself get, in my own head, which I can do if I take things too seriously, almost, I guess.
I totally agree with you. If we were in the same show, I would be making you laugh in the wings. Whether that's good or not.
I would be doing that too.
I love it. And finally, have you got any superstition?
That's what I like. That's what I like.
Me too. Me too. I love it.
Oh, superstition. Yeah, that I think it is if I tell my mum that I think I'm going to get a job, then I just won't get it. That's my superstition. Tell that. If I tell anyone that I think I'm going to get a job, like in a positive way, that I think I'm going to get it, then I'm like, oh, I won't get it now.
Wow. So you've basically got to be really negative about it, Jodie, and not tell anyone. Keep all to yourself.
Well, doesn't it? Yeah. Yes. And that's it. That's the key. Okay, be super negative. No. I just don't want to get carried away. So I just never say.
No, I agree.
Even if someone finds out, honestly, even if someone finds out I'm in for it, I'm like, but I won't get it. Like,
yeah.
Throw it to the side, you know.
So I also just have one last question in terms of like rituals. Are you really, really early to an audition, or are you like cutting it up fine? Oh, that face. I'm not sure what you're going to say.
I mean, I'm never early for anything. So yes, cutting it fine. I hate waiting. That's when I overthink. So I have to just be like 5 minutes before.
Yeah.
Gotta be. And they're like, oh, arriving now. And I'm like, yeah, especially for dance auditions. Get me there 5 minutes before. I do not want to be in that waiting room. Nope.
Yeah, I find that so nerve-wracking.
Totally. I'm entirely with you. I just want to walk in and do it.
Jodie, thank you so much for your time today. I mean, I could talk to you all day, and literally I'd love to know all about your audition processes for everything. I think we'd be here for absolutely hours. So before you go, thank you so much for your time, Jodie. I mean, you've given us loads of pieces of advice today, but if you could leave us with maybe your one major, most important piece of Jodie Steele advice, that would be amazing.
Big one is, if you are in a waiting room and you will be able to hear people singing before you go in, either get out of that room or put your headphones in so you cannot hear the people singing before you, is my biggest advice. Because if somebody blows your mind, you will then be extra nervous. So don't do it. Just put your headphones in or walk out of the room so you can't hear them and focus on yourself.
Amazing. I'm actually going to do that, because that is one thing that scares me.
Yes, never listen. Oh no, I'm like la la la.
No, honestly, I'll never forget, somebody was like really quiet once in the Pineapple waiting room, and they went in and sang, and this boy just looked at me and he went, "It's the quiet ones you've got to watch." And I was like I was like, oh, what he said about me, I've not been talking. But it was like, he literally looked at me like, as in, you've got to go after that. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
Oh,
hilarious. Well, it was so lovely to talk to you. If you could just do our outro, which is thanks, that's all for today. And then I will stop recording, if that's all right.
Oh my God. I can't wait. Okay. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm so ready.
3 years training for this. Ready, folks? What do I actually say? That's all.
Oh my God, that was amazing. Thanks, that's all for today.
Right, okay.
Okay, sorry. I'll give you a lead in again. So, Jodie, if you'd like to just say, I can't do it now. If you'd like to just say the outro for me, please, that would be fantastic.
Okay. Thanks, that's all for today.
Smashed it.